Hey kids! Hey Matt, how are you?
I'm so excited. I heard we're celebrating a holiday. I love holidays. So what holiday are we celebrating?
We're celebrating Sukkot. We also call it the Feast of Tabernacles.
Should I have brought a cake? I would have baked a cake, but my mom said I wasn't allowed to use the oven.
That's okay. We don't need a cake to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles.
Is this one of those holidays where you end up with an entire basket of candy?
No.
Does it have a turkey dinner? A lot of holidays seem to have turkey dinners. I even wore my turkey hat. I always get one of those drumsticks.
Well, it does have some things in common with Thanksgiving, but it's not necessarily a turkey dinner holiday.
Are there fireworks?
Not that I know of.
Does everyone talk like a pirate?
What?
Don't you know about Talk Like a Pirate Day?
Today's not Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Right. You said it's Feast of Tabernacles.
Exactly.
So, are there tabernacles at the Feast of Tabernacles?
Yes, there are.
Cool. So, what's a tabernacle?
A tabernacle is a temporary shelter. The Israelites lived in temporary shelters when they were in the wilderness for 40 years.
Like camping?
Yeah. For the Feast of Tabernacles, we can celebrate by building a temporary shelter called a tabernacle or a sukkah to stay in. Families will often build them in their backyards. This reminds us how the Israelites lived while they were in the wilderness. God was with them in the wilderness, and we celebrate that God is with us too.
Why were the Israelites in the wilderness? Were they lost? Did they forget their compass?
No, they weren't lost. They were on timeout, a 40-year timeout.
Yikes! Why?
Sounds like it's time for our Bible story. We have to rewind pretty far back, all the way to the book of Exodus. Mr. Rob, will you help us rewind?
In the beginning.
Whoops, too far. Forward just a bit.
Then Moses said, "Let my people go."
Perfect. The Israelites were slaves in Egypt. They cried out to God for help, and God used a man named Moses to rescue them. God did some amazing things and showed everyone how powerful he is. There were plagues. Uh-oh, we need an Egyptian for this part. Ta-da! There we go. There were locusts, lice. Get him off! Get him off! Hail.
Cold, 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 cold.
Darkness. Boils. And through all of this, God protected the Israelites. And then God parts the Red Sea so they can escape on dry ground. The Israelites all saw God's power as he rescued them. Then God led the Israelites to the new land he promised to give them. But when they got there, they saw the really big, strong people who lived there, and they were afraid. The people who live in this land are too strong. Why did God bring us all this way just for us to die? Even though God had promised to give them the land and had just shown them all how strong he is, they refused to trust God.
We should go back to Egypt.
Back to Egypt, where you were slaves?
Yeah.
Where you just asked God to save you from?
Yeah.
Since the Israelites refused to trust God, God said they would have to wander in the wilderness for 40 years until their children grew up. He would give their children this special new land instead. They were on time out. But here's what's so amazing. Even though the Israelites refused to trust God, God was with them the whole time they were in the wilderness. God made sure they had food to eat.
Ooh. What is it?
And water to drink.
Cool. Is that water from a rock?
And he even made sure their shoes didn't wear out. The Israelites had to move from place to place and live in the wilderness in temporary shelters.
Tabernacles.
That's right. But God stayed with them the whole time, and he took care of them. even though they had refused to believe and trust God. Have you ever seen a movie preview?
What? I thought we were talking about the Feast of Tabernacles, and now we're talking about movie previews?
Trust me, it's related. So have you seen a movie preview? A short video about a movie that hasn't come out yet?
Yeah, I went to the movie theater to see a movie, and before it started, they play a bunch of previews for other movies that hadn't come out yet.
Right, exactly. And that movie preview gives you an idea of what that movie will be about.
Yeah, I still don't get what this has to do with the Feast of Tabernacles.
The Feast of Tabernacles is like a preview for what God was going to do for us through Jesus.
What do you mean?
Remember how God was with the Israelites in the wilderness? That was a big preview for Jesus coming from heaven to be with us here on earth. And remember how God kept caring for the Israelites and giving them what they needed, even though they had really messed up? Well, we all have really messed up too. But even though we have messed up, Jesus still loves us and he gave us exactly what we need. He saved us. He died on the cross and came back to life for us so that we could be forgiven and have a new life forever with God. The Feast of Tabernacles is a time that we remember that God doesn't abandon us when we make mistakes. He sent Jesus to be with us and gave us exactly what we needed. Even though we mess up a lot, Jesus came to be with us and to rescue us. The Feast of Tabernacles is a celebration of Jesus coming to be with us. It is a time that we can be thankful for all that he has done for us, and a time that we can remember that he is with us.